most people, like most church people specifically, they remove themselves from the temptation. You know what I mean? They don't go to the places, you know. And if you look at like the Bible, like Jesus went to Matthew's house, and all the religious people were like, why is he hanging out with those people? If he was really the Messiah, he wouldn't be hanging around those people. He would know that they're sinners. So like, I want to live like Jesus. Hey guys, what's up? It is Thursday, May 22nd, I believe, here at the City Fam offices, working, hopefully ending my workday soon. And I wanted to make my weekly vlog just to stay consistent, documenting the journey as I have been. How's it going, Corliss? So want to just jump right in. Before I start talking about events, just usually like to kind of check in and just on where I'm at personally, and really just getting back in the saddle with really just, I guess, some of the self-care that I've neglected a little bit of leading up to my mess up about a month or so ago, I guess. And I had a life coaching meeting with Lori the other day. This week I think it was it Monday or Tuesday? And you know, she basically, it was funny. I was doing my quiet time that day, and I was thinking about things I wanted to talk about in the vlog, and I typed into my notes, bitter and resentful, because that's how I've been feeling. And I got to my life coaching meeting with Lori, and she's like, "You're bitter." She told me, she just called me out, and I was like, "You're right." And she's like, "You're entitled, and your attitude sucks." And I'm like, "You're right." And we talked about it, and a lot of it has just been, you know, things have been really difficult. You know, like, it's been a hard, you know, 7 years, but more specifically, like 4 or 5 of the last, because, you know, I saw how important City Fam was and how over my head, like, I just didn't know what to do and how to build it, but I saw the value in it, or you know, how it impacted people. And it was just like, you know, working myself to death, trying to figure it out, trying to get resources, not being able to do it, not really even getting people, you know, really to help us. Like the people that I thought really would or should help us, you know, didn't. After a while, you know, it was just a lot of things that kind of added up, where I got some big disappointments, like I talked about last year, and then, you know, there were some people problems in the organization, and our attendance numbers were not great. So it was just all these things added up, and I just got to the point where I was just like, I was bitter, you know, and just pissed off. And anyway, so I'm really just identifying the fact that that's true, you know, and doing what I need to do to get back to a place where I'm healthy, you know, where it doesn't matter what happens with the organization, that I'm still okay, you know what I mean? Because what I'm realizing is a lot of my identity it's not so much who I am, it's a lot about what I do. Like that's what something that I'm dealing with. Like, my identity has always been like Rob, the promoter, or Rob, the, you know, now Rob, the City Fam founder, or whatever. So if the organization doesn't do good, it starts affecting how I feel about myself, because my identity is so wrapped up in what I do. So I'm just kind of figure all that out. You know, I'm obviously seeing Lori, and I'm going to something called the Landmark Forum, June 7th through 11th, which is like this personal development seminar that some friends have told me really good things about. So doing everything that I know to do, but I'm also trying to not work 15 hours a day, you know, like, because I just have to do my best, obviously, you know, but I gotta just trust God with the rest. And, you know, how it kind of really started, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit, is like, when City Fam started, it wasn't even a thing. It was just, we had no idea that it was going to become anything. It was just a group of friends that were on the right path. I always say they were my friends that loved Jesus, that were normal, right? I had a few of them. There wasn't many, but there were a few. And we were just hanging out, and we were kind of doing life together. And it just added so much richness to my life. And then I saw other people's lives being impacted that started to kind of come around. And it was awesome. It was great. And then it got bigger, and I saw more people's lives change. And then I started to feel pressure, because I was like, wow, this could really help a lot of people. And then the whole thing started to shift, where it started to go from something that was really fun and really filled my cup and something I enjoyed a lot, to be something that I had to do instead of something that I got to do. And then it was like, oh, I have to go to this event, or I have to volunteer at this place, and then that attitude started to wear me down when I couldn't attract the resources. Then I started to have this martyr's attitude, like, look at all this stuff I'm doing and nobody cares. And so I personally, of course the organization has to stay together, and there are things I have to do, even as a volunteer of this organization, which I am, but I'm have to get back to a place where I look forward to being there, that I get time around, my close community, and get my cup filled. So it was really, understanding all this, and then understanding that this attitude of me having to make everything happen it's not even true. I believe that City Fam was God's idea. I know it was all his idea. And even the name, the way the name came to me, I don't want to get into that story, but it was clearly God. And, I started to take on the weight of the organization, thinking that if it's going to be, it's up to me. And that's just not true. And I really, like the devil is crafty, man. Like, he will use anything to take you out, even something good, because City Fam was a very good thing. It was great. But it got to be like, it didn't matter how much work I did, it always felt like I wasn't doing enough. That was just recently. Like, I'd be working 15 hours a day, and it just felt like I wasn't doing enough. I always felt like this nagging feeling like I could be doing more, or I wasn't working hard enough. I'm getting up at like 4 a.m., at least a few mornings a week, working out, getting here, first one here, last one to leave at the office. I mean, this is like years I did this. And eventually it wore me down, and it got to my attitude started to suck, and then I spiraled out a little bit. And it's just like, yeah, like the devil is slick, and yeah, he'll use anything to get you. So so for me, it's just getting back to that place where I'm healthy again, like I'm around the people that I want to be around, that I like to be around, at least somewhat regularly. I'm going to have to be very intentional about it, and just do the work on my relationships, because I lost some of that. When Billy got married, I don't want to get into that, but when he got married, I started to lose that, and I wasn't very intentional about replacing it. I went to church on Sundays, and I hung out with City Fam people, but when you're in a big group like that, it's hard to really know. It's hard to get deep with people. You have to have small communities, and that was something that I got away from. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, so I'm just gonna keep going. But what I did learn from that recent, slip up was, in addition to working on relationships and getting back to a place of, where I was just healthy, is that I have to be on guard all the time. What I really learned was, like, the old me can come back like that, at any moment, if I'm even a little bit fuzzy. And it kind of sucks, to be honest, because it's a hard place to live, and like to keep your boundaries up as far as I have to all the time. It's a little exhausting, but it's super safe. And that's just where I'm at. I heard a friend say, he was a guy that was in the program, and he said, you used to be a cucumber, and now you're a pickle, and you can never go back. Like, you're always going to be a pickle. And in a lot of ways, that's kind of the way it is. Like, not just with, like, maybe drugs or alcohol, but also with whatever. If you take it to the extreme, to the excess, it's just so easy to go right back to that place. It's like muscle memory almost, right? So for me, I found, like, I went from like here to like, I just, morally, like that fast. And I learned that it's pretty easy to return to that behavior if I'm not constantly on guard. And I made a post actually about it recently where I was talking about, it was actually my last vlog where I was addressing somebody that had given me some negative feedback in regards to my mess up. And, I was like, you don't know what it's like, because most people, like most church people specifically, they remove themselves from the temptation. You know what I mean? They don't go to the places, and if you look at like the Bible, like Jesus went to Matthew's house, and all the religious people were like, why is he hanging out with those people? If he was really the Messiah, he wouldn't be hanging around those people. He would know that they're sinners. So like, I want to live like Jesus, like I want to exemplify him to the best of my ability. Now, here's the thing. I ain't him, like I'm not sinless. I actually have a very sinful past and get tempted a lot, it's a dangerous situation if you're not locked arms with other people, which fortunately I am. I have a great community. It's, within City Fam, I have great friendships, but this person that criticized me, I'm thinking like, you don't even know what it's like, because you probably don't ever expose yourself to people that don't think like you. You're only around people that think like you. So that's easy, but that's not what we're called to do. At least the people that are believers that are watching, like we are called to go, right? He says, I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves. That's what, the word says. And you must be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. But he's like, yeah, you are getting sent as sheep among wolves. And if you're a sheep among wolves, think about it. Like those wolves want to eat you. You know what I mean? Like it's a dangerous situation. So you have to be always on guard, like I talked about. So anyway, but even that vlog that I made, I was prideful and I puffed up in it because I was mad. I was just mad about just church people, religious people. And, I've gotten negative feedback from a lot of them over the years, specifically to my cussing or, oh, why do you promote events with alcohol and all this other stuff? And I'm thinking like, how many people are you even reaching? You know what I mean? Like, are you reaching anyone? Because you just sit inside your little church, the four walls, and like, are you making any impact at all? Like I see the difference that, my friends and me make, because we do it the way it was supposed to be done, that we do it different, or at least different than the way they did. So anyway, I don't even want to go down that path, because I can get mad and sound really prideful, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I did an Instagram live a couple mornings ago, and I was talking about what's up, DJ? And it was one of those mornings where I was having a hard time getting up and going. That's usually my most challenging time, honestly, is in the mornings getting started, because it's just, again, it's been a long road. It's been a long road. And I know it's like, okay, here we go again. Time to get up, 4 o'clock, 4:30, whatever, go to the gym, just grind. And sometimes it's a little hard. This morning was particularly hard. And I just felt so like heavy. Like I was literally sitting there doing my quiet time, and my hands felt heavy. Like it was weird. I just felt heavy. And I just felt like this sense of, the best word I can use, it was despair. I felt despair. And I was like, God, I just, like things are hard. And I know it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not. And I just prayed, and I'm like, God, I was just like kind of cried out a little bit to him, and I'm like, I just need your help to make it through the day. Because sometimes, there have been times not that long ago where I just want to crawl in a ball. I don't want to go to work. I just want to crawl into a ball and just feel sorry for myself or whatever, because things were that hard not that long ago. And so this day I just kind of prayed, and I really just was like, I need you to help me not feel this way, and help me make it through today. And I don't want life to be like this. I want to enjoy my life, and I don't know what changed, but there was just a noticeable difference. Like I don't know, I don't even know, I can't describe it, but all I know is I felt different. My perspective changed. I felt hopeful, and I felt lighter. And then like, I swear it was, I think it, again, it was whatever day I made that Instagram live, if it was Monday or Tuesday, I opened up the book, or I read a little book in the morning called Daily Light, and it's got a bunch of like scriptures all around the same subject. So for that day, what's up, Scott McDowell? It was, I don't remember what the name of the subject was, but the verses were, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, and the joy of the Lord is my strength." This was literally right after I felt this change in like my perspective and my attitude, and I felt lighter. I opened it up and I read those verses, and I'm like, there's no way that's coincidence. For me, it was like, I don't know why it was so profound that day, but it was like God was saying to me, it's intended to be this hard. Like he's wanting me to rely on him, because I think up until now, I've just worked. Like I've just pushed through things, anything that was hard, I'll just work through it. And I pray, of course, I pray for clarity and think, but I probably have given God lip service where I've prayed for strength, but I was at the point where it was like, just having a hard time going for the day, just putting in the time. And I just really was like, God, I don't want to feel this way, anymore. I don't want to just push through it. And it was like, anyway, for what it's worth, if anyone's out there, if you're suffering from depression, if anxiety, worry, stress, any of that stuff, try it. There's actually a verse that I quote often to myself, and it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So basically, we're not supposed to worry, about anything. You're not supposed to have any anxiety, but your part in the whole process is you got to pray. You got to talk to God. So many people suffer from, anxiety, but they don't talk to God. The promise is if you talk to him and you give it to him, that he'll give you peace. So, but for me, it really wasn't even anxiety. This wasn't anxiety. It was like despair, because I was like, I want breakthrough. I've been working hard for a long time, and I really need this thing to break. And it is. And honestly, I had a great day that day, and I've had a great day every day since then. There's so much good stuff happening, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But it has been a long road to get here, and I'm a little worn out, and I'm looking forward to that promised land. Somebody bought me a book called The Crushing. It was by T.D. Jakes. I haven't read it yet, but I really do know that God takes you through a period where he crushes you, so that I guess a new life can be formed through that process. Even with Jesus, like he was crushed in the Garden of Gethsemane, sweating great drops of blood. God, and he was perfect. So if he had to go through it, how much more are we going to have to go through it, right? So anyway, that's just a little thing I wanted to share. So anyway, here's what's happening. So there's a map that is up right now for CityFam and for Why Waiting Works, where people are actually adding their name and their location to this map. And there's people all over the world. There's like, I don't even know how many, but there's like 70 some people that have added their name and their location. Countries all over the world: Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, England, all over the United States, Asia, Africa. And these are people that are part of the Why Waiting Works and the CityFam community. So what we're really, shout out to Claudia Hoffman, by the way, for putting that together. So what we're trying to do is help our members connect with each other so that they can start to form groups, and meet each other. Because honestly, like that whole crushing period I just talked about, that whole wilderness that I've gone through, that I'm hopefully coming out of, I wouldn't have been able to make it without the help of friends, like without community. I barely made it with friends. So there's no way I could have made it without friends. So we want to help people form those relationships so that as they step out to go after their dreams and become the best version of themselves, that they have this support group to make it. So if you haven't added your name to the map yet, I'm gonna post the link on this video. You can add it and then get connected with other good people. And if you guys want more information about how to put a group together that could eventually lead to a city fam, you can just DM me and I'll give it to you. Right now we have groups that are meeting in Houston. We have a city fam in Houston, Texas. It's actually blowing up. They just did their first service event. They had more people at their service event last Saturday than we did at their very first one. So I know Houston's gonna be a huge chapter. We have a group meeting in Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out to Lisa Risto for being the leader out there. And by the way, shout out to Nicole Richard for being the leader in Houston. You're amazing, and couldn't be doing what we're doing without you. But Phoenix is rolling, and we also have a group in Dallas that's starting to meet. Shout out to Dixie Keel. They just had their first social event on Friday. So it's exciting. It's exciting stuff, and we are, wanting to see these all over the world because people need it. It's really filling a void for people. So if you're watching this and you're somewhere else in the world, you can drop me a DM or just add your name to that map and we'll get you connected. So I have a trip to Romania at the end of July that's confirmed. They already bought me the plane tickets. I'm going there for 2 weeks at the end of July, beginning of August. And then I'm going back for a month. For the whole month of October, I'll be in Romania. And I'm gonna be speaking at schools, 15 to 18-year-olds, talking about waiting. And it's somebody through the pro-life movement has booked me to go there. They're printing 2,000 of my books, and it's gonna be cool. I'm excited about it. It's just, I don't really know what to expect, to be honest, but I'm booked for it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually got booked for another event here in Delaware, in Wilmington, Delaware, on August 10th called the Single Save Summit. So I'm gonna be talking to a group of single believers about sex and about waiting, which I'm really looking forward to that, just because they speak my language. But actually most of the kids are speak English in Romania too, so I don't think the language is gonna be as big of a barrier as I'm making it out to be. But I am looking forward to the Single Save Summit because, nobody's teaching this stuff, right? Like they probably heard about waiting, but no one's ever explained it to them the way I'm gonna explain it to them. So I'm excited about that on August 10th. City Fam is moving in the right direction. A lot of good stuff happening locally. We got accepted into the Innovation Works Boost program. It's an inaugural program that is first time in Baltimore, where they pair us up with a mentor, and we go through this pretty intense weekend-long workshop, and then they give us ongoing support moving forward. So they're going to help us with our financial plan, which we really need, because after 5 years we still don't have a financial plan, and they're going to help us with a business plan. So and some other things. So we're excited about that, working with some smart people that are hopefully going to help us really turn this corner. And we have our Renegade is coming up at Riverwatch on June 7th, I believe. It's the first Friday in June. Always one of our best events of the summer. People love Riverwatch. We'll have cornhole tournament. There'll be live music coming out, and then we're going to take that Renegade. We're going to use it as an opportunity to sign people up to serve at the Special Olympics the next day. So on June 8th, we'll be at Towson University helping out with the Summer Games, doing the track and field event. So you can sign up for both of those events now. I know that Special Olympics event's gonna fill up fast, so if you're interested, I would do it now. I'm gonna put links for everything I mentioned below in the comments as soon as I stop. But that's it. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you next week. See you.